Hi there. My name's Sue, and I just wanted to tell you a novice's thoughts on solo cruising. I have taken maybe 3 or 4 cruises back in the late 1970s. I was in my 20s at the time, and I went with girlfriends on those cruises. And then many, many years passed, and I didn't go on any cruises. I did some vacations with family and friends, but no cruises. Well, my good friend, she asked me on a cruise maybe in 2018, 2019, something like that. So that started me back to cruising. And I liked it, but I went with her and then another friend too, like 2 girlfriends. We had a great time. But then I started thinking my husband had passed away. And if I wanted to do any more cruises and friends weren't available, then I would have to do solo. Which solo cruising just means that you're doing it yourself. It doesn't mean you're single. Could mean you're single, but you could be single, divorced, widowed. Any of those qualify as solo. So anyway, I had another friend from another group that I'm in mention that she was going solo on a cruise. I thought, wow, I should try that. At least it's kind of a safety net somewhat. I wasn't totally solo, so I knew someone. So anyway, I planned it. My first and only so far Norwegian Caribbean cruise line. Went on the Norwegian Prima just a few weeks ago. I'm home now. I really enjoyed it, and I also still enjoy cruising with friends or family. But this was a new experience to me, so I just wanted to talk about it a little bit. So I went on this cruise. Norwegian is known as having solo cabins and what's called solo studios, which is in a dedicated hallway on 2 different decks. In this case, I don't know if it's all the cases, but it's deck 12 and 13 on the Norwegian Prima. And those 2 decks are connected by a private stairwell, and they have the private halls on deck 12. So you need key card access, your room key. The room card, rather, and that would get you into the solo studio. Now, I myself was on deck 16, which was a inside solo, category IT, which does have key card access to the solo studio lounge. Now, I could go down there. It's open 24/7. And they have a really nice setup. They have some couches and like a kitchen area. You don't cook yourself or anything, but they have a really nice coffee machine with coffee and lattes and cappuccinos and things. You just press all the different buttons. They also have dispensers for wine and beer. And they have a nice ice machine with the crushed ice that I like, and water. And then they also have fruit. Like this time they had apples and oranges, which I didn't get any of those, but they also had different pastries, like pound cake type of thing, and Danish. And they also had orange juice and makings for hot chocolate and hot tea. So anyway, and that's nice. And if you have the right category, or if you're in one of the solo studios on deck 12 or 13, then you have access to the lounge, which is really nice. But anyway, some pointers, and this is just from a novice, which is me. I would suggest finding on Facebook a page dedicated to that particular sailing that you decided to go on. I made some friends, Facebook friends that way, because we kept chatting. And then also as an offshoot from that, one of the other people set up on Facebook Messenger a solo group chat. So now on the Facebook page, it's just anyone, families, couples, individuals, whatever, that is going on that particular week. Mine was May 10th through the 17th of this past year, 2026. Well, not the past year, the year we're in. And the Messenger page, like I said, was just strictly for solo. And then the other Facebook page was for everybody. And then, of course, there are Facebook pages, as everyone knows, for those particular ships or that particular line. And they're not set up by you can go onto the pages for the various cruise companies, but these are just Facebook pages that people have set up that are going on the cruise and have interest in solo and whatever cruise line it is. So you start to talk a lot. I didn't decide this cruise for like a month or so in advance. So I only started chatting with everybody for a month. But of course, as soon as you know about your cruise, you could start chatting earlier and going on the Facebook page. Or you could be the one that would set up that Facebook page if someone hasn't set it up already. And so anyway, one of the girls, who's a couple, she's out of Florida, she had made some comments on the page that if anyone was going to be in Port Canaveral a day early before the cruise ship departed, that we could get together for dinner. So this restaurant was called Fish Lips. So we all went, and there was probably, I don't know, maybe 15 or so. Maybe there was more than that. Somewhere around that number of people, couples, singles, what didn't matter. We had dinner and drinks together, and she had suggested we all wear leis. Now, of course, they had paper cheap leis at the Dollar Tree store for like $1.25, $1.50. And you can identify each other by that. Of course, we're not going to Hawaii, but it was just a common denominator there. And so that was nice. And so made some friends that way. And of course, the next day you get on the ship, and then you know some people. We met together at one of the bars, and she also had organized some things. Now, you have to be the organizer, or have someone in the group that really likes to plan things, likes to be boss of things, and so that really made it easier. And since I went on this cruise and had a friend in advance that I knew, now we also shared. She and I had shared a hotel the night before. And we did go down on the same flight. We sat entirely different places on the plane. And then coming back, we had 2 different Delta flights. But we did share a shuttle. So that was a little safety net, like I said, So I have not yet been truly solo, with not knowing a soul or anything. But my big suggestion is just to go ahead and find a Facebook page for that particular week or longer, or whatever, however long your cruise is, but find one for that. And then also there's like NCL has the solo cruise page. Then they also have a page just for that particular ship. So those are all really helpful in getting you acclimated to everything. And then on the Norwegian line, they have solo meetups at 5 o'clock every day. You can play trivia or just some kind of little game. We met at Sid Norman's like at 5 o'clock on that ship. And then the coordinator would then say, who wants to go to dinner together? And so that was the main dining room. And so some of us, one night it was 9 of us. One night it was 15 of us. Another time it was just 4 of us. And then same thing for the shows. Then you could go to the shows. But the solo meetups were another good way to do that. So that made it easier, a lot easier. So I guess any cruise line that has solo meetups would be beneficial to join those. This had a good group of people on this particular cruise that were traveling solo. So that's my big suggestion. Like I said, the Facebook page, and if you're not on Facebook, then of course maybe Cruise Critic or one of those other places. But that helped ease the transition from always traveling with friends or family to solo. I was never aware of just how many solos there are traveling on cruise ships. I'd never heard a count for our particular week. Our trip was 7 nights, but it seemed like there were a good number. And from just conversations on Facebook in different groups, there are a lot of people for various reasons traveling solo. Whether the other spouse doesn't like cruise ships, or whether, they just don't like cruises. And then, like I said, single, widowed, and divorced. But there are a lot of people out there that lose their spouses, and they don't have a cruising friend. They might have friends, but not any ones for whether prohibits it, whether it be that they just don't like big crowds like that, or they just don't have the funds for it, because it's not the cheapest vacation. But I would say attend all the functions on the cruise that you go on and make the most of it and have fun. Oh, and then another thing is just to be outgoing. Even if you aren't outgoing, you have to pretend. Fake it till you make it, they say, right? You just have to put yourself out there more than you normally would, which is what I did. I guess I'm more talkative with people I know, and with strangers, not so much until they might start a conversation. But in this case, I had to be the one to start a conversation. And you click with some people and you don't click with others. And that's nothing wrong with that, right? But of course, you could always solo travel and just keep to yourself with a book also. I mean, I went out on a deck on a lounge chair. Like one day I specifically remember it was so windy, and it was a sea day, I guess. Yeah, a sea day. And we were cruising along, so my hair is blowing every which way, and it was hard to read. It made it really hard to read, which was kind of funny. I think I put some pictures out there of that on my Facebook page. But anyway, it was really hard to read with the hair blowing around, even though I don't have long hair. But yeah, you could totally be happy with a book by yourself if you want to do that. And I was perfectly content with that too. So, whatever you make it, let's make it good, right? Okay, well, thanks for listening to this little monologue here. And consider solo cruising, or just consider cruising again. All right, have a good day. Thank you. Bye.